Many vacation rental owners begin with excitement, but soon find themselves juggling guest messages, pricing decisions, and maintenance tasks late into the night. This episode reveals why hosting often feels overwhelming and why recognizing the pressure is the first step to reclaiming control. What is the quiet struggle many hosts feel? You wake up in the morning, and the first thing you do is check your phone. Maybe there's a booking request. Maybe a guest messaging you asking where the extra towels are. Maybe a notification about a review that arrived overnight. Before your coffee has even cooled, you are already working. By mid-morning, you've answered messages, confirmed a cleaning, checked your calendar, wondered if your pricing might be too high or too low. A light bulb goes out, then the guest asks for an early check-in, and then the washing machine makes a noise you've never heard before. And somewhere around 9 p.m., when the house finally is quiet, the inbox finally slows down, you might be thinking something like, I've worked all day, but I'm not sure if I actually moved this business forward. Well, if that thought has ever crossed your mind, this episode is for you. Because running an independent vacation rental often feels harder than it should. Not because you're bad at it, not because you've made wrong decisions to start, and definitely not because you lack effort. It feels hard because hosting is a strange mix of hospitality, property management, marketing, accounting, and customer service all rolled into one role. And most owners learn that the hard way. Welcome to another episode of Vacation Rental Resolutions Podcast. If you have not done so yet, sign up and, if applicable, ring that bell so you don't miss any future episodes. In today's episode, we're talking about something that many hosts feel but rarely say out loud. Why running a vacation rental sometimes feels heavier than expected. I'm going to explore where the pressure comes from, why it's normal to feel overwhelmed at times, and why many successful hosts experience the same exact feelings early on. And later in this episode, I'll share a simple shift in perspective that helps many owners relax a little and enjoy their rental again. Because hosting should bring satisfaction and not consistent stress. You'll also find extra insights in the 7-Day Vacation Rental Jumpstart, a practical guide designed to help hosts build a rental guests rave about without burning you out. Before we go on from here, let me ask you something. Have you ever reached the end of a busy hosting day and wondered whether you're running your vacation rental or your vacation rental is running you? Let me know in the comments. Hosting isn't just one job, so let's talk about the elephant in the room. Running a vacation rental looks simple from the outside. You list your property online, you add some photos, you set a price, and you wait for bookings to appear. At least that's what many new hosts imagine. But the reality feels very different once you start, because hosting quickly becomes a collection of dozens of tiny responsibilities. You're a host, yes, but you're also a marketer, a cleaner coordinator, a maintenance manager, a guest concierge, interior designer, a pricing analyst, a review responder, and sometimes an emergency plumber. And that's a lot of hats for one person. And the pressure builds quietly. It doesn't arrive all at once. Instead, it accumulates slowly. At first, you're excited. Your first booking arrives, you celebrate. Then another booking comes, you start receiving guest questions. Then the calendar becomes complicated. Then you realize weekends are no longer predictable. Then a guest leaves a review that feels oddly personal. Suddenly hosting feels less like a hobby and more like you're running a small hotel. This is something many owners discover after listing their property. Success in this industry depends on treating the rental as a business, not a side project. And businesses require attention. Lots of attention. That doesn't mean hosting is bad. In fact, it can be incredibly rewarding, but it does mean the emotional weight is real. One guest expects hotel-level service, while another wants local recommendations, another wants a discount, and another one wants a late checkout. Every message matters. Every review matters. Every booking matters. So naturally, you start caring deeply. And caring deeply often leads to overwork. Many hosts don't even realize it's happening. They just keep saying yes. Yes to early check-ins. Yes to late checkouts. Yes to answering messages instantly. Yes to solving problems at midnight. And at some point, the calendar becomes the boss. And that's when the questions appear. Why does this feel harder than I expected? So here's what to look for. These are signs you're carrying too much. We're going to slow it down here for a moment, because if hosting feels heavy, there are usually clues, little signals that tell you something isn't quite balanced. Many owners miss these signs at first. They assume stress simply comes with the business, but recognizing these patterns can bring surprising relief. One of the first signals is constant mental noise. Even when you're not working, you're thinking about the property. You might be cooking dinner and remember you forgot to send check-in instructions, or lying in bed wondering whether the cleaning team's confirmed for tomorrow's turnover. Your mind keeps returning to the rental, not because you wanted to, but because you care. Another sign is reactive work instead of proactive work. Your day becomes a chain of small reactions. A message arrives. You answer it. A booking comes. You update the calendar. A guest asks you a question. You respond immediately. Hours pass this way. Busy, but not always productive. Then there's decision fatigue. Every day you make dozens of tiny decisions. Should I adjust the price? Should I allow early check-ins? Should I replace the sofa? Should I respond to that review tonight or tomorrow? Individually, these choices feel small. Together, they drain energy. Research in hospitality management shows that consistent small decisions can exhaust business owners faster than large strategic ones, and vacation rental owners face hundreds of micro decisions every month. And here's something that many hosts feel but rarely admit: emotional attachment. Your rental isn't just a business asset. It might be a second home, a family property, a cottage you renovated yourself. That emotional connection means every review carries extra weight. A glowing 5-star review feels fantastic. A critical comment about the mattress can sting more than expected. It's personal. And finally, there's the most common signal of all. You're almost done. You're almost caught up with the messages, almost finished updating the listing, almost ready to relax. But there's always one more thing. And that constant almost can quietly exhaust you. Recognizing these patterns doesn't mean something's wrong with your business. It means you're human. And most hosts experience this stage at some point. You're not failing, you're learning. Here's an idea that might bring some relief. Feeling overwhelmed doesn't mean you're doing hosting wrong. It means you care deeply about doing it well. And that's a good thing. Think about the first time someone becomes a restaurant owner. They're juggling inventory, staff, marketing, customer service, and finances. It feels overwhelming at first. Hosting works the same way. When many people begin their vacation rental journey, they assume the hardest part will be attracting guests. But the real challenge usually lies in operations and expectations. Guests today expect hotel-level convenience combined with the personality of a home. That's a delicate balance. They want fast Wi-Fi, spotless cleaning, local recommendations, smooth check-in, instant responses. And they expect it consistently. At the same time, competition has grown. More properties enter the market every year, which means standing out requires attention to detail. That pressure can make hosts feel as though they must do everything perfectly. But perfection isn't a goal. Sustainable hosting is. And sustainable hosting includes learning curves. It includes messy middle stages. It includes moments where you wonder if you're doing enough. One insight many experienced hosts share is this: the early stage of hosting often feels the busiest because everything is new. You're learning how bookings flow. You're discovering guest expectations. You're figuring out what systems you need. And during that stage, many tasks live in your head, not on paper, not in systems, just in your brain. And that is exhausting. The good news? Over time, patterns appear. You start recognizing common questions. You learn which amenities guests love most. You develop routines. What once felt chaotic becomes predictable. And suddenly, hosting feels lighter. Not effortless, but lighter. That shift doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. And many successful hosts look back on their early days and laugh, not because it was easy, because they survived the messy learning phase. So stop expecting hosting to be effortless. So here's a small shift that can change how hosting feels. Stop expecting it to feel effortless. That expectation quietly creates pressure, because when something feels difficult, your brain assumes you're doing it all wrong. But the most meaningful businesses require effort. Hosting is no different. Instead of aiming for effortless, aim for intentional. Intentional pricing, intentional guest communication, intentional design choices. When you shift the goal from perfection to intention, something interesting happens. You relax slightly. You start making decisions with more confidence. You stop trying to please every guest. You focus on creating the experience that fits your property best. That mindset shift also helps you recognize progress. A smoother check-in process, better reviews, repeat guests, small improvements add up. If you're feeling overwhelmed right now, remember this: many experienced hosts once felt exactly the same way. They simply kept learning. They adjusted gradually, and over time, their business began supporting their life instead of consuming it. If you would like help simplifying the early stages of hosting, the 7-Day Vacation Rental Jumpstart Guide breaks down the essentials of guest experience, pricing, and property preparation into manageable steps. What part of running a vacation rental currently feels most overwhelming? Guest messaging, cleaning coordination, pricing decisions, or something else? Let me know in the comments. Here are your key takeaways. Hosting often feels harder than expected. Overwhelm is common for new hosts. Guest expectations are rising. Early stages feel the busiest. Progress comes from small improvements. Running a vacation rental can feel surprisingly demanding, not because the idea is flawed, but because hosting blends hospitality, property management, marketing, and customer service into one role. When you begin, everything feels new. Every message requires attention. Every review feels personal. Every decision matters. That combination can create pressure. But here's the encouraging truth: most successful hosts once felt exactly the same way. Over time, routines developed, patterns appeared, confidence grows, and the business becomes predictable. And hosting becomes enjoyable again. If you're feeling overwhelmed today, remember this: you're not failing, you're simply in the learning phase of building something meaningful. And if you'd like practical guidance, the downloadable resource mentioned in this episode is available in the show notes. And if you're ready for deeper support, the Launch Your First Vacation Rental course offers step-by-step guidance for building a profitable and sustainable hosting business. For further reading, you might enjoy the crucial role of vacation rental data analysis, episode 37. You can find all the posts on vacationrentalresolutions.com. Before we wrap up, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if this helps you run your vacation rental with a little more confidence, consider buying us a coffee. It helps keep the episodes coming. In the next episode, I'm going to talk about our vacation rental owners working too much for too little profit. Until then, remember this: you don't need to have it all figured out. You just need the next right step. See you next time.